Okay, we're here with Brian Bazzel. Brian is the Senior Director of the Metalwood category. Very long title, but basically he's the man in charge of all Metalwoods for TaylorMade, so he's the man behind the very popular M1 and M2 Metalwoods. Two new drivers we're going to talk about here. Let's start with the M1. How have you made it better than the first version that came out a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of different things, actually changed a whole bunch. As it relates to the construction of the product, we started there with the materials. You know, M was the first time we introduced this multi-material platform, and what we have now is more carbon fiber, 43% more carbon fiber. The process in which we put it all together has been advanced, but we're freeing up more weight. And by doing that, we've been able to make the track longer in the back and added more weight to it. So now it's more adjustable. People can personalize their product to fit their swing and their needs. Just in the back track alone, we're moving the center of gravity 64% more, and the head's a little bit larger. Right. So we've added forgiveness to it as well. So it pretty much, if you take last year's M2 forgiveness and you put that into the new M1, that's what you have. Yeah. And then you have all the personalization to go with it.
So was some of the impetus for doing that the success of last year's M2? You know, M2 came out after M1, and then we saw a lot of tour players put the M2 in the bag, which I don't know if it surprised you guys. I think maybe it did surprise some in the media and some fans at home. But part of the impetus was maybe to borrow from the M2 and then put it in the M1?
Exactly that. Yeah, I mean, we learned a lot. And I would say to some degree it was a bit of a surprise to us, to be completely honest. I mean, we knew M2 and M1 were phenomenal products, but to see guys at that level put and take advantage of the forgiveness of M2, I mean, it just goes to show you that everybody can benefit from that. Right. And so we had to work hard to provide that in the next M1.
So the one question I want to ask you about the M1, 43% more carbon in this version than the last one, which obviously, as you said, saves all kinds of weight, frees you up to do a lot of things. So the question would be, maybe from a viewer at home, is if you can have that much more carbon now, how come you couldn't have that in the first one? What was the learning process involved?
Boy, I mean, we're learning every day and pushing harder to do it. I think the unique part about this one is trying to free up more weight with more carbon fiber, but knowing how to use it. Because it's not just about more carbon fiber and freeing up more mass, it's how we use the carbon fiber in M1. If we were to go deeper about that, you'd see how we pushed the toe panel in, we've created more aerodynamic sole, and we've pushed the track over, and we've done a lot more than just add the carbon. And so it required that to really be a breakthrough. Right. So the 43% more carbon fiber is one element of it, but it took us that long to figure out how to really make something measurably better, not just a little teeny bit better.
Okay, so moving on to the new M2, it's not the adjustability story that M1 is, more forgiveness, you know, distance, also this geoacoustic technology that you've added. Tell us about that, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. So when you look at the sole of the new M2, you see this sunken sole section, you see the shroud that kind of comes over the outside. Well, what it's allowed us to do is sort of twofold. One is it's allowed us to make a more forgiving product, and I'll tell you how. And it's also allowed us to make a real good sounding product in the way, you know, feel of sound. So we've done it by pushing it in with a real lightweight material. It's thick, thin titanium. We used to use it for a crown. Pushed it up. You typically don't want to do that in the sole. Sure. But by doing it with lightweight material, we keep our CG still down, but we free up all that area, that volume, and we disperse that to the rest of the head. So now the head's larger this way, the face is bigger, and our inertia is higher. So our forgiveness and our stability is higher. So it looks forgiving, and it is incredibly forgiving.
It does sound good too, and that's so important to golfers as well, isn't it?
It's a deal breaker. Honestly, you can have all the measurement numbers that I described, but if it doesn't sound right, golfers don't want it.
So are you an M1 guy or an M2 guy?
Personally, I play M1. I like the adjustability, I like dialing it in, and I don't play as much as I used to, but I've been able to play still at a pretty decent level, and when I go out, if I need a little tweak, like, I can do that.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.